Now that the college football season is officially over, it is time to start our mock drafts. Today, I'm going to be doing PFF's online mock draft. I'm going to do the entire first round, and I'm going to be picking for every team based on what I think they should do. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe. I'm just starting this channel out. I love talking about sports, mostly football. I'm going to do a lot of these style videos in the future. Be sure to follow along. And with that, let's get into it. All right, up first, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this pick is pretty obvious, so I'm not going to spend too much time here. They're going to take Fernando Mendoza with the #1 overall pick. I mean, he's the best player available. He's the best quarterback. He's also the only quarterback that I think is worth a first-round pick. Definitely the only quarterback that's worth a top 10 pick. So they're not even going to think twice about it. They're going to go with the Heisman winner, the national champion, and he's going to be the face of their franchise, along with Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers. So really excited about that pick for them. I think that's a no-brainer. Next, we've got the New York Jets. This is interesting because obviously they need help in a lot of different places. They sold a lot of their defense before the trade deadline. Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, they kind of just cleaned house, so they really need help across the board. They could go quarterback here. I think they would have gone quarterback if Dante Moore had declared for the draft, but obviously he went back to Oregon, so they're back to the drawing board. I think this is way too early for Ty Simpson. I'm looking at Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese here. I do think it's a little bit early to take Caleb Downs. I think in the history of the NFL, safeties don't go that early in the draft. I don't know when the earliest safety was taken, but the last safety that was taken in the top 10, I know for a fact, was Jamal Adams, and that was a while ago. So I think Caleb Downs is an amazing player. He's obviously the #1 ranked overall player in PFF for good reason. I mean, he's going to transform whichever defense he becomes a part of, but I don't think the Jets are going to take him here. I am thinking they're going to take his teammate Arvell Reese. That's a great pick for them. That's a cornerstone that they can build that defense around for the foreseeable future. I love that pick for them. I think they're going to go with Reese here. Next, we've got the Cardinals. And this one's interesting because nobody knows what they're going to do with Kyler Murray. I mean, they could keep Kyler Murray and continue to build around him. They also could trade him and look to completely rebuild that offense. If they do that, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback here. I do think they're going to look for a franchise cornerstone offensive tackle. And I don't see him anywhere here. But I think Maui Goa from Miami, there he is, Francis, he's all the way down to 19. I don't know why he's so low, but I think I've seen a lot of mock drafts that think the Cardinals are going to take him at 3. I think that's a great pick for them. Getting a cornerstone offensive tackle, whether it's Kyler Murray or not, I mean, he's going to be able to protect him for many, many years. I am shocked they have Spencer Fano ranked above Maui Goa. I mean, they're both really, really good. Excuse me. I don't think you can go wrong here with either of them. It's weird that Francis is down here at 19. But I think that's who the Cardinals are going to take here. Next, we've got the Tennessee Titans, and they've got their quarterback. Obviously, Cam Ward looked great the back half of the year this year. He's definitely their quarterback of the future. They do need a running back. I don't think they're going to take Jeremiah Love here. I don't think that's their biggest need while they still have Tony Pollard. They need playmakers on the outside. I can very, very well see them taking Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. However, I think they are going to look to pair the Cam Ward piece on offense with a franchise pass rusher on defense. And I don't think you can pass up on Rueben Bain Jr. here. I mean, him or David Bailey, both great, phenomenal football players and great athletes, they're going to transform whichever defense they're on. Rueben Bain Jr., in my opinion, is the best available when it comes to rushing the quarterback. Watching him in the college football playoffs, that dude is an absolute game wrecker. He gets in the backfield at will. I think him on defense to build around and then Cam Ward on offense to build around is going to give the Titans a lot to be excited about in the future. So the Titans are taking Rueben Bain Jr. with the 4th pick. Next, we've got the New York Football Giants, and this one's interesting as well because a lot of people have them going wide receiver here. And I think they're right. I think the Giants have to go receiver here. I was confused about that at first because they do have Malik Nabers. So to me, it didn't make sense it doesn't feel like their biggest need on the football field. They've got a lot of playmakers on offense. But the more I thought about it, if they don't pair another receiver with Nabers, defenses are going to take Neighbors out of the game completely. And they need somebody else to be able to give targets to. And it's not, spoiler alert, it's not Wan'Dale Robinson. So I think they go receiver here. Between these two, Tyson and Carnell Tate, a lot of people have Tate ranked higher than Tyson. I don't see that whatsoever. I think Jordan Tyson is a freak athlete. I think he is the best receiver in this draft class. I don't want to say by far, because I do think Carnell Tate's really good, but I think Tyson is like the clear wide receiver one here. I can see him going on the Giants and just taking a little bit of the heat off Neighbors and giving Jackson Dart a couple different options to throw the ball to. So we're going to go with Jordan Tyson there for the Giants. Next, we've got the Cleveland Browns. This is a situation where I think if any other quarterback was available other than Ty Simpson from Alabama, they would probably go quarterback here and ditch Shedeur Sanders. But I think Sanders showed enough to be able to buy himself another year. And there's not really a quarterback here that is worth taking with the 6th pick. I can very well see them trading down from this pick and like loading up on more picks later in the draft. But while they're here, might as well take the other top receiver that's on the board, Carnell Tate. It's no question that their defense is solid. The defense of the Browns is phenomenal. They got Myles Garrett. They've got a lot of help in the secondary. They got Schlesinger, who's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think the Browns defense does not need that many pieces. They need to load up on offense in this draft, and it starts with Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. So that's a really, really solid pick for the Browns to start. Next, we've got the Washington Commanders, or for those of us that have been around football for a while, the Redskins. My apologies, I probably shouldn't say that. They are the Commanders now. And the Commanders need a lot of help on defense. They got their guy at quarterback. Their offense, even when they went to the NFC Championship, not this year, but the year prior, they scored a lot of points. I mean, their offense with Jaden Daniels on the field is electric. Their defense, however, gives up a lot of points, and that's obviously inevitably why they lost to the Eagles. So I think they need as much help as they can get. I can very well see them taking Caleb Downs here. That pick would make a lot of sense for them. However, I think the biggest need is this edge rusher spot. And David Bailey sitting here, to me, feels like I'm not going to say a no-brainer, but like they definitely need pass rush more than anything else. They could go Downs, but I think they're going to go with David Bailey here. And I think they probably should. They need to find a way to get to the quarterback. They can get secondary help later in the draft, but David Bailey is an elite pass rusher. Next, we've got the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints, I think, could really go anywhere here. I mean, they definitely need a receiver to take some of the heat off of Olave and to help out Tyler Shuck. They also kind of need a running back because Kamara's on his last legs. I know the rookie Neal played pretty well this year, so maybe they don't go running back here. I could see them taking Jeremiah Love. They could go with Mekhi Lemon. I can see that. I don't think they will, though. I think their defensive line, it has it over here in the needs as well. Their defensive line is aging. They've got a lot of veterans on that line, and I think getting a guy like Peter Woods here out of Clemson, just a complete beast on the interior. I think he's going to be able to stop the run. He's going to be like the next great Saints defensive lineman after all these veterans move on. Again, I can see them really going with Love. I can see them going with Lemon, but I think Peter Woods is probably the right pick for them here. Now we've got the Kansas City Chiefs, which it blows my mind that they have a top 10 draft pick. I think it's funny that the 1 year they obviously have an off year and miss the playoffs, they're going to end up with one of the greatest running back prospects to come out of the draft in recent memory. They're going to pick Jeremiah Love here. Their run game for the last, since Jamal Charles, or maybe Kareem Hunt, has just been brutal. And getting a guy like Jeremiah Love, putting him in the backfield with Mahomes, that's going to make that offense a lot more scary, especially since Travis Kelce is probably going to retire. Mahomes is going to need all the help he can get. And I'm not a Chiefs fan. I think a lot of people that are maybe watching this are in that same sentiment. If you are a Chiefs fan, I'm sorry. But it's kind of disgusting that they're going to end up with Jeremiah Love. It's sickening to think about, but congratulations to the Chiefs. You played your off year very well, and you are going to end up drafting Jeremiah Love, assuming the Saints don't take him first, but what a pick for them. And now we have the Bengals, and this Caleb Downs guy has been sitting on the board for far too long. The Bengals, it would make a lot of sense to get some interior O-linemen to help protect Joe Burrow, because he is like the most important part of that franchise, and he's been sacked more than any other quarterback in the league since he's come into the league. However, their defense is tragic. They need help on all three levels on defense. They're going to lose Trey Hendrickson in the offseason. And I think best available is what you got to do if you're the Bengals. And Caleb Downs at 10 is an absolute steal. I think you cannot let him go. If he's on the board still to you at 10, Cincinnati, you have to take this guy. Safety is one of their needs. They also need D linemen. I'm not seeing any D linemen other than Cassius Howell down here, Caleb Banks, but you can't pass up on a guy like Caleb Downs. I think that's kind of a no-brainer for Cincinnati. Next, we've got the Dolphins. This one is a little bit tough to predict because I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. I mean, they lost their head coach, obviously. What are they going to do with Tua? What are they going to do with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle? Like, there are a ton of question marks on that offense, and I don't have any of the answers to them. So they could very well go with Mekhi Lemon because I'm assuming Tyreek Hill is not going to be in a Dolphins uniform next year. They could maybe reach for a quarterback here to replace Tua, but I think Quinn Ewers did fine last year. So if they move on from Tua, Ewers played well enough to buy himself another year, kind of similar to Shedeur Sanders. So I honestly think the Dolphins go defense here. And again, this depends a lot on what they do in the offseason, which obviously none of us know what's going to happen there yet. But cornerback is a huge need for them, and I'm seeing two elite cornerbacks here in Jermod McCoy and Mansour Delane. And to me, it's a coin flip. I mean, you can't go wrong with either of these guys. I'm probably going to lean McCoy here because he's ranked a little bit higher, and I think he's just a tad better. But again, complete coin flip between these two. You can't go wrong. They're going to get a huge piece to add to the secondary. We'll go with McCoy to the Dolphins there. Next, we've got the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones loves to draft offense. I mean, he's an offensive guy. The Cowboys are an offensive football brand. It would make a lot of sense for them to go with a guy like Mekhi Lemon, but I think a lot of that is contingent on what happens with Pickens in the offseason. I think they're going to extend George Pickens because he played well enough to deserve it, let's be honest. If they end up extending Pickens, there's no shot they take Lemon here. They don't need another wide receiver. That would just be dumb. I can very well see them taking Sonny Styles. They need a lot of help on defense, as you can see. They need edge, they need linebacker, they need safety help. I think Sonny Styles is a good pick here, but I think they are really missing that pass rusher when they traded Micah. And I think they're going to look to replace him here and get a guy like Keldrick Falk. They could, it's tough between Falk and Styles. I think I'm going to lean Keldrick Falk here. Again, just because of the missing Micah Parsons emotion that goes into it. I think they're going to try their best to replace him. They did do some work on the line. They got Kenny Clark in return for that trade. They got Quinnen Williams from the Jets. And I think pairing that with an elite pass rusher like Keldrick Falk, this pick makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys here. So we're going to go with Falk there. Next, we've got the LA Rams. It's funny that quarterback is their biggest need because their quarterback is about to win MVP. But it makes sense because he's, probably a couple years away from retirement. So they might do a Jordan Love type thing where they draft a quarterback, let him learn for a couple years, and then eventually take over. I don't think they're going to do that here given how weak the quarterback class is. So offensive tackle makes a ton of sense to protect an aging Matthew Stafford. They don't really have a lot of holes on their team. I mean, I'm making this like a couple days before the NFC Championship game against the Seahawks. I think they're going to win that game, and I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. This might not age well. They might get their ass kicked by the Seahawks. The Seahawks been playing really well, but they don't have a lot of holes on their team is my point. So they might just take best available, get a guy like Sonny Styles. I can see them taking Spencer Fano to beef up that O-line, but I did just watch their secondary in the game against the Bears get embarrassed, especially on that fourth down play where Caleb Williams threw up a prayer to Cole Kmet. I mean, that play alone is enough to make them want to draft a quarterback, and I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go with Mansour Delane here, who, again, this could be McCoy, this could be Delane. I think they're going to go with Delane here in this spot. But yeah, who knows? That's kind of a question mark of a pick. The Ravens, I don't know why, but it feels like they swing and miss on receivers all the time, and they just are unable to get good production from the wide receiver spot. I think that changes this year. I think they draft Mekhi Lemon here. Let's see what other receivers are available for them. Denzel Boston's a good pick. Concepcion is a good pick. You've got Bernard down here, the pair of Indiana receivers. I mean, obviously they're not going to dig this far deep when you've got a guy like Mekhi Lemon on the board. I think this pick feels to me like a match made in heaven. The Ravens just got their new coach. Lamar's going to come back with a whole lot of confidence, and he's going to have a lethal weapon to throw the ball to on the outside with Mekhi Lemon. Buccaneers here. I mean, they could go tight end. I think the best tight end available is Sadiq from Oregon, but that feels like a reach for them up here. They could go with interior O-line. The Penn State guy, I don't even know how to pronounce that name. He's the best available for interior O-line. But I think at this point, they do need a linebacker pretty badly, and I think letting Sonny Styles fall to 15 is a mistake by a lot of these teams. Granted, not a lot of these teams need a linebacker as badly as they need help in other spots. But the Bucs getting Sonny Styles here at 15 feels like a steal, and I think that's what's going to happen. So we're going to go with Sonny Styles for the Buccaneers. Next, we've got the Jets again, who they took Arvell Reese with the second overall pick, so they've got another pick here. And, I mean, if I'm being honest, guys, they need help. They need help everywhere. I don't really know. I think defense makes a ton of sense here because I'm looking at value on the board, and the defensive players are a lot better than the offensive players that are here. So I think pairing Arvell Reese in the second level of the defense with an elite defensive lineman is a phenomenal first round for the New York Jets. And I think after losing Quinnen Williams, they're going to be a little bit inclined to get an interior lineman as opposed to an edge rusher like Cassius Howell. And I like Banks, but I really like Caden McDonald out of Ohio State. I think that pick makes a lot of sense for the Jets, especially, again, after losing Quinnen Williams, just finding his replacement. So I think they double up on defense, and they get Caden McDonald from Ohio State. Next, we've got the Detroit Lions, and the Lions are great on both sides of the ball. However, their defense needs a lot of improvement. Their secondary needs improvement, more specifically. And then the offensive line, I think they dealt with some injuries this year, and I think they could always use some beef on the O-line. So I know Dan Campbell, not personally, but I've watched him. I'm familiar with the guy. He's an offensive mind. I think he goes Spencer Fano here. I think he goes with offensive tackle. This is low for Spencer Fano. Similar to Maui Goa. I don't know why he's ranked this low, but I think they're going to take Fano here and not look back. I think that's a really good fit for them. Next, we've got the Minnesota Vikings, and they probably need the most. Well, they should draft a quarterback, if we're being completely honest, but they're not going to do that. They're going to stick with 9. They need a lot of secondary help. Notice it says DB as opposed to cornerback because DB is encompassing of the entire secondary, and they need a lot of help on the back end. I'm looking at Avion Terrell here, and I just don't think we overthink this. Colton Hood's pretty good down there. Brandon Sissy. I don't think we overthink this. I think we go with Avion Terrell. That I can see him in the Vikings purple. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, we're going to go with Avion Terrell for the Vikings. Next up is the Carolina Panthers. And full disclosure, I'm a huge Panthers fan. And so I probably know more about this pick than any other picks. I've done a lot of reading and a lot of studying so far already. The biggest weakness for the Panthers, two things, linebacker and pass rush. Our GM just came out last week and said that it was very clear that those are the two things that we need to fix the most. And he kind of hinted that they were going to make some plays in the offseason in free agency for those positions. So I actually think, I've seen a lot of mock drafts that have us taking like CJ Allen out of Georgia or maybe a Cassius Howell for an edge rusher. I think we actually make a play for both of those positions. I think we make a play for Devin Lloyd from Jacksonville. If not him, there's a couple other linebackers available. And then I think we make a big play for hopefully like a Max Crosby, but maybe a Trey Hendrickson or another pass rusher as well. And assuming that those pieces get addressed in free agency, I think the Panthers look at Kenyon Sadiq here. They have three very average tight ends in Jatavian Sanders, Tommy Tremble, and Mitchell Evans. None of them are like big playmakers at the tight end position. They haven't had a great tight end since Greg Olsen. And they clearly hit on the draft this past year with Tedero McMillan. Jalen Coker's coming in as a wide receiver too. I think more than wide receiver, it would make sense to go receiver, but the last two drafts the Panthers have gone receiver in the first round. I don't think they do that a third time. I do think they go tight end here. Again, this is contingent on them addressing the defensive holes in the offseason, but I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq for the Carolina Panthers. I think that's a really exciting pick for them. The Cowboys now have pick 20 as part of the Micah Parsons trade, and last time we picked with them, I believe we had them take an edge rusher, Keldrick Falk, that's right. And the other big need for them was linebacker. There was an argument for them to take Sonny Styles at that earlier spot, but now that it's back around, I'm seeing CJ Allen on the board out of Georgia, and I think this again, if the Panthers end up taking CJ Allen, I would be thrilled with that. I think he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's like a cornerstone linebacker. The Panthers pass on him. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to. I think they're going to take CJ Allen, and I think they, very unlike Jerry Jones, are going to double up on defense in the first round. Steelers here. What is Aaron Rodgers going to do? Nobody really knows. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers knows, to be honest. Excuse me. But I think that this, to me, feels like the kind of time where we start to look at a Ty Simpson. I can't see him going any earlier than this. I can very well see the Steelers passing him up and taking any of these other three positions, but I think Ty Simpson to the Steelers actually makes a lot of sense. I think he's very unpolished, I guess is the right way to put it. He's got a lot of improving to do, but learning from a guy like Rodgers for a year, maybe 2 years, assuming Rodgers stays, it would be phenomenal for him. He's got a lot of talent. I believe he was a 5-star coming out of high school. Obviously, was great at Alabama. Made some mistakes, and so I think that that's where him learning from Rodgers is going to come into play and be huge. But I think Ty Simpson to the Steelers is a good pick for them. Next up, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're pretty solid on both sides of the ball. Obviously, they don't need a quarterback. They don't need receivers. Their defense is great. I think their defense was really underrated this year. Probably a top 5 defense. I don't think I would say top 3, maybe top 3. But their defense, I don't think they need a lot of help on defense. I think they're probably going to look to the O-line here. I like Caden Proctor out of Alabama, but Ioan, if that's how you pronounce it, I've seen really, really good things about this guy. I think this offensive guard to the Chargers makes a ton of sense to kind of bolster that O-line. And if I know Jim Harbaugh, he's going to pound the rock. He's going to want to draft an O-lineman. That is a good pick for them. Okay, next we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they're going to need a receiver because A.J. Brown is going to leave. There is a next to 0% chance A.J. Brown sticks around with the Eagles after this year. However, they also need an edge rusher. They've got Jalen Carter, and gosh, who's the other guy that they have on defense? The two Georgia guys. Davis? Yeah, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter plugging up the middle, but they need an elite pass rusher. And I think Cassius Howell falling all the way to them at 23. As much as they would probably want to take Denzel Boston, I think this is too good to pass up. And there's other ways. They might sign A.J. Brown back. I don't know. They might get another receiver in free agency. So I can definitely see them going defense here and taking Howell. That pick makes a lot of sense. Next, we've got the Browns. They took Carnell Tate with the 6th pick. And honestly, I can very well see them doubling up on offense. Again, like I said earlier, their defense is elite. They've got a phenomenal defense. They don't really need help there. They took a receiver at 6. I think they go with the O-line here, maybe. And they take, I love Proctor. I love Lomu out of Utah. Which one of these can I see going to the Browns? I think this is kind of a coin flip. We went with the higher ranked one earlier. We went with McCoy instead of Delane at the cornerback position. Yep, there's McCoy. And so this time we are going to go with the lower ranked tackle. We're going to go with Caleb Lomu out of Utah. And we're going to wait on Caden Proctor. Lomu and Carnell Tate, if I'm a Browns fan and I walk out of the first round with those two guys, I am thrilled. That's an immediate boost to the offense. The Bears, the worst part of their team this season, without question, is their run defense. I think Ben Johnson being such an offensive-minded guy, it's going to be hard for him not to try to convince the GM to go offense here. But I can see them going defensive line. They need somebody up the middle to stop the run. They could get a line. I don't see any linebackers here. When is it Anthony Hill Jr. is the nearest linebacker? Let's see. Yeah. Average draft pick 37, rank 38. I don't think they're going to reach for Anthony Hill. I think Caleb Banks is a really good guy up the middle for them to have. He's a guy that'll plug up the run, immediately make a difference, make an impact on that defensive line. So Caleb Banks to the Bears would be a solid pickup for them. Now we've got the Buffalo Bills, and it's no question that they need playmakers on the outside. I can see them going with Denzel Boston. I can see them going with Casey Concepcion. I think, Chris Pell down here, I don't think they're going to go that far. I think it's Boston and Concepcion. And honestly, I like Casey Concepcion for them. I think that guy is absolutely electric. He's going to return punts for them. He is the guy you can hand the ball off to in a jet sweep. He's a quick hitter kind of guy. He can stretch the defense. I think Concepcion is a great pickup for the Bills here. They might go for a wide receiver. They might go for A.J. Brown in free agency. I've seen rumors about that. I think the Bills might try and make a play for A.J. Brown. But regardless, they need a lot of help at receiver, and I think Concepcion is a great pick for them there. Next, we've got the 49ers, and they're solid, but they just had a lot of injuries this year. So I think for them, it's just about adding depth. And the place where they need the depth the most is going to be the receiver position. Losing Deebo Samuel hurt a lot. Their wide receiver 1 right now is technically Ricky Pearsall. And he's fine. He's good, but I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. And seeing Boston still available here, I think they go with Denzel Boston here if he's available. Obviously, Concepcion, they'd probably take him if he was there. I don't see any other receivers recently. Yeah, so it'll be Denzel Boston here for the 49ers. Next, we've got the Houston Texans. And honestly, after that playoff game against the Patriots, they might want to go quarterback, but I don't think, Chambliss is next available at 66, or the next highest ranked, I should say. Diego Pavia would be a fun pick for them, wouldn't it? No, they're not going to go quarterback. They're going to stick with Stroud. They need a lot of help on the offensive line. Their defense is perfect. I mean, one of the best defenses we've seen in recent NFL memory. They don't need any help on defense, similar to like the Chargers and some of those other teams that we talked about earlier. They're going to go offense here. I think they're going to go offensive line, and I'm seeing Caden Proctor, and it feels like that he's got Texans written all over him. Monroe Freeling's pretty good as well, but I think Caden Proctor is a large human. Let me see if I can pull up his stats. Does it have any of his like physical stats? I think he's like 300 something pounds. Oh yeah, 6'7". Oh my God, he's 6'7", 366 pounds. Jeez. That's a animal to add to your O-line. Maybe I should have thought twice before taking him over Lomu earlier. Well, let's see how big Lomu is. 6'6", 308. That is 60 pounds lighter and 1 inch shorter than Caden Proctor. All right, I'm getting distracted. The picks are in. What's done is done. Next up, we've got the LA Rams. Now, again, it's funny that they have quarterback as a need. They don't need a quarterback necessarily. What they do need is offensive line help. Now, earlier we had them taking a cornerback because Delane was available and he's a beast. I think now they have to focus on the O-line. I'm seeing Monroe Freeling is available. He's definitely probably going to be the best pick that we have here. Emmanuel Pregnon is decent, but they need tackle help more than they need guard help, so we're going to go with Monroe Freeling for the Rams. Next up, we've got the New England Patriots. Now, they are going to want to do everything they can to protect their glorious quarterback, Drake May. I don't see a lot of good offensive line talent here. I think it actually makes a lot more sense for them to address some of the holes on defense and then worry about offensive line later in the draft. So I'm seeing edge rusher that they need, seeing linebacker that they need. TJ Parker falling all the way to 30. I mean, the Patriots would probably be licking their chops to try and get this guy. This guy is a beast at Clemson. He was a beast at Clemson. He's going to be a beast in the NFL. I think the Patriots would get an absolute steal with him if he falls down to 30 here. So we're going to go with TJ Parker for the New England Patriots. Next up, we got the Broncos. Now, it says the Broncos need a running back, a tight end, a center, and a linebacker. I can very well see them going linebacker here with Anthony Hill Jr., but again, similar to the Texans, their defense is so good. I mean, their defense carried them to several wins this year, and they clearly have their guy at quarterback with Bo Nix. I think what they're going to want to do here is build around Bo. I think they're going to want to draft pieces on offense, weapons for Bo to throw the ball to. I mean, who do they have at receiver right now? They got Cortland Sutton, who's aging. Their wide receiver 2 is either Marvin Mims or Troy Franklin, who, if we're being honest, are not the best wide receiver 2 options. I'm surprised it doesn't have a wide receiver for a need on needs for them right here. I think they're going to go with a receiver, and I'm seeing Chris Bell, which would be a solid pick for them here. Now, Jeremy Bernard. This is a guy that can be an absolute difference maker on offense. Similar to Concepcion, like he's an athlete. You can put him anywhere. He can run any route. I actually love this pick for the Broncos. I mean, it proves to Bo Nix, like, hey, you're our guy. We're going to draft pieces around you, and we're going to commit to you. It's an exciting pick for the franchise. They don't need help on defense. I think it actually makes a ton of sense for them to pick Bernard here. And then the last pick of the draft, we've got the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, what can you say about the Seahawks? What a year they're having. They don't really need a ton of help in a lot of different places. I can see them going secondary because they probably could use another corner to pair with Spoon. Hood is solid. Sissy is solid. Toss-up between those guys. We've got a lot of toss-ups in this first round. They probably could go offensive line. Pregnon would be a phenomenal pick for them right here. Oh, they do need interior O-line help for sure. Yeah, now the more that I think about it, they don't need a ton of help on defense. I mean, they do need secondary help, but their defense is so good as it is right now. I don't think they're going to spend a first round pick on a defensive back. I think they're much more likely to go interior O-lineman and draft a guy like Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. So I'm going to go with Pregnon for the final pick of the first round. And that's it. That's the first round of the NFL draft according to me. If you stuck around with me till the end, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment what team you're a fan of and if you liked my pick for your team or if you didn't, and maybe what you'd do differently if you didn't like it. Again, be sure to subscribe, like the video. It would help me out a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.